why do movies made of computer games always suck? Since 1993, movies adapted from games have mostly disappointed their audiences and flopped at the box office, yet there are more than 100 movies based on games, with 50 more on the way. The microgenre started in 1993 with Super Mario Bros., about a pair of plumbers who have to defeat the creatures coming out of the sewers of New York. The film was a complete flop and lost $27 million at the box office. The film even angered fans for changing certain well-established aspects of the plot and characters. Now, as it turns out, the problems that beset Super Mario Bros. Were the same problems that would beset generations of movies made from games. Street Fighter, which came after, was much maligned for shifting focus from the game's main character, Ryu, to the secondary character, Guile, which was played by action star Jean-Claude Van Damme. Instead of focusing on the fight tournament, the movie had a tangential plot involving some UN task force. And while the game had complex characters, each with their own reason to fight and each with their own unique fighting style, the characters in the movie were flatter than a runway. After that, there was Mortal Kombat. And really, there's no mystery to why Mortal Kombat was bad. Bad sets, bad acting, bad script, bad everything. Now here's the thing, we know movies made of computer games are in the B genre anyway. But remember, sci-fi movies and adventures movies were once firmly part of the B genre, until Steven Spielberg came along and made unforgettable classics like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Most wuxia films are also B grade, except when terrific directors like Li Ang or King Hu make films like Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon and Touch of Zen respectively. More bad films were to follow. Pokemon the game was fun to play with, but Pokemon the movie was boring to watch. Doom the game was dark, scary, and staggeringly brutal. It had weird creatures, cool weapons, and claustrophobic settings. Doom the movie was just another action flick about biological contamination. Blah. Silent Hill the movie suffered the curse of most movies made from computer games. It seemed to be moving from point A to point B to point C, and then all over again. Among all the box office flops, Final Fantasy was the biggest loser of all. It lost a whopping $123 million at the box office. In the past few years, however, these movies are starting to be profitable. The first major success of the genre is Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, which cost $115 million to make but grossed $275 million worldwide. Though the movie wasn't all that great, the story was relatively coherent. The action sequences well presented, and more importantly, Angelina Jolie was sexy and appealing as a heroine. The Resident Evil movies were also guilty pleasures. Again, fairly coherent storyline, rapid pacing, energetic set pieces, and a very sexy Mila Jovovich in a skimpy dress and high boots. Will there be more successes? Let the discussion begin.
And hi, welcome to RazorPop, where we talk about entertainment and pop culture. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Helmi, and today we're going to talk about movies adapted from computer games. Why is it so hard to get them to work?
I know that is the question. Joining us is Sherwin Loh, a correspondent for Digital Life, The Straits Times. He's also an avid movie buff who's seen many of the films we were talking about in the clip just now. Haven't you?
And I have. Yeah. And he's seen Max Payne, which opens in cinemas today. Max Payne is based on a shooter video game that debuted in 2001 and has since found its way onto many computers, including Sherwin's, I suspect.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have played with the original and the sequel.
Yeah, the sequel. I like the original better than the sequel.
Yeah, I have to agree. The sequel, I didn't even bother to complete it.
Yeah,
it was just as if they had some leftover levels that they just pieced together to make the sequel.
The narrative was just, I don't know, the whole premise was just like, it's just to make money, to sort of like ride on the wave of the first game.
Yeah,
it wasn't really a meaty story.
Hey, but in the end, they decided that it was worth making a movie out of it.
I guess so.
So it must have been something about it.
Because of Mark Wahlberg? I don't know. Well, anyway, let's go to you first, since you're our learned guest in general. What do you think is wrong with the movies made from computer games?
Especially when you compare them to movies made from comic books, which have done very well.
Well, I think when you talk about video games, right, the one element that you can never bring to the theater is the fact that you have the player.
Yeah.
Right? So when I'm playing the game, I know what I enjoy and I do the things that would make the game fun. If I want to shoot somebody, if I want to dodge, if I want to destroy something. But when you make it into a movie, you have a director trying to tell you that this is his version of the game. And do you like to watch somebody else play a video game?
Yeah.
After 5 minutes, it gets kind of boring, right? So when you have a movie, there are certain expectations that are set by the creators, but then as a player, you never get to have your own input. But that's what a video game is about. It's about you interacting with the game itself.
Yeah, and I think a producer, or sorry, the director, the lead designer of a game is, they want to give you the feeling that you're in control, but not so much.
But it rarely happens, right?
It rarely happens, yeah.
It never translates well because you have to have the opening, the middle, and the ending. So everything is just crafted already for you. And whatever you know about the movie, sometimes that it doesn't make... whatever you know about the game, sometimes never makes it to the movie. So you're expecting to see certain elements. Like when you watch Final Fantasy, if you play a lot of RPGs, you expected a lot of magic and a lot of spells, but in the end what we got was a sci-fi
It's a sci-fi, like post-apocalyptic.
So it really deviates a lot from what the series was about.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Do you think it can even work to begin with? I mean, the way video games are structured, it's sort of like... stage 1, and then you move to stage 2, and then stage 3. Whereas a movie evolves with the characters, with the plot, and it seems a lot more complex in that way.
Yeah, Sherwin, what do you think about that?
I think that you can. If you look at the Resident Evil movies,
Yeah.
the basic concept was one person fighting zombies. And they just stuck with that, right? And if you look at the game and the movie, it differs greatly, right? The Japanese have their own concept of horror and zombies, but when they did the Resident Evil movies, they just took the core elements and they went with it.
Okay.
And it sort of works.
I sort of want to bring it back to comic books and comic book film adaptations of the comic books, right? I don't think comic books are glorified storyboards, for like a test audience, which Hollywood thinks it is, right? I think comic book as a medium should be made for the sake of itself, and that's the end, Although they have more in common than in films than games do. Like in films, you talk about like the mise en scène, like you said, the director sort of like this is how
he pictures it.
He imposes his own vision,
and this is the frame. You can think about the world outside the frame, but this is what you're going to look at. In a game, it's 360 degrees virtual. You see, it's a world, and like you're saying, I'm just mirroring what you're saying. Games, the gamers interpret the world that is around them. And I don't know, the gamer is like the writer, the director of photography, and the actor / protagonist. So that's why I don't feel films do games justice at all.
But is it a question of just bad directors?
No, I mean the storyline. Okay,
bad scripts.
If you talk about Max Payne, if you look at the deco, if you look at the style of the, you've seen the trailer, right?
Yep.
And the elements where you have all the snow falling and the idea of angels and everything.
That's in the game.
It's part of the game, yeah. So in a way, the director did fulfill his part by bringing the game elements to film. But I think the storyline is where it's failed.
Okay,
the storyline is failed.
I didn't see the movie Max Payne, but I played the game obviously. And was it still film noir?
Not as much, just because there was this. I mean, it's Marky Mark.
Yeah, it's Marky Mark.
How do you get film
without the
noir
funky
out of
bunch,
it, right? Yeah, no. But I mean, the element is the same, right? You have a guy who lost his wife, and he has to find out who the killer is. It's typical fugitive storyline.
Sounds like Death Wish.
Right? But they just put more guns into it. And honestly, without the Max Payne tagging, it could have been a decent action film, but because of the Max Payne branding itself, you have a lot of expectations. People who play the game want to see the game on film.
Okay, there have been in the past like so-called B genres like sci-fi and adventure films. In the 60s and 70s, they were looked down upon as cheap genres. But then people like George Lucas came along and made Star Wars and brought a new level of respectability to that genre. Steven Spielberg made Raiders of the Lost Ark and brought respectability to a genre, about this guy going to the jungles looking for treasures.
Yeah.
So, could it be possible that it's just a question of good directors and bad directors, good talent? I mean, Angelina Jolie did make a difference for Lara Croft, right?
Yeah.
If it had not been her, I don't know.
think the movie would have done as well.
Would Charlize Theron have been able to do the job? Or
Well, she did Congo, so...
Yeah, she did.
She works well in the jungle, right?
She also did that action film. I can't remember where she was a superhero.
Aeon Flux.
Aeon Flux, yeah. And that flopped.
That's another one that didn't work. So I mean, in a way,
That was
you're
manga
right.
though, right? Like, was it manga or anime? I think
It's
it was
an American style,
like Cartoon
wanting
Network
to
sort of
be,
thing,
like manga. But I mean, in a way, actors do play a part. That's why, Angelina Jolie worked as Lara Croft.
Yeah.
And in a way, you expect Mark Wahlberg to bring a certain A game to his films.
Okay, since when?
Considering that if you look at the Departed, even if you look at Shooter, he carried the film pretty well, even as a supporting actor in The Departed. So when he finally came to his own action movie, people were thinking that he would do better than his previous outings.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I guess the expectations had a lot to do with it as well. People aren't familiar with the shooter, Departed in North America, they just didn't see the original. But for this one, I mean, you can see that he's trying.
You can
But
see
you actually, well, a little bit.
He means every shot he takes, is it?
Really? Although I swear in interviews he seems so bored.
Well, that's like his persona. Anyways, I sort of like want to address what you said about is it a question of good directors or writers
Attracting good talent, because I sometimes suspect that good talent do not want to. Good directors mostly do not want to touch.
I mean, maybe
something
in video
that's based on a
games,
computer game.
in video games it's not there yet, but like you said, of what Lucas did with Star Wars, of what Spielberg did with Indiana Jones, I think Chris Nolan did with Batman.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? So it
true.
took them how many years since the original Tim Burton
I
Batman?
feel.
Okay, but
it's
Tim
a
Burton already
question
did a
of-
good job with Batman,
But
and
after
Bryan
that,
Singer did a great job
It
with
went down from
X-Men.
there.
And
It went down, and then now it's gotten back up again.
Brett
Right? So
Ratner
maybe
didn't do a
for
good-
video games,
Brett Ratner didn't do a good job. X-Men.
No.
yes,
he did
X-Men
not.
3
Yeah.
sucked.
Yes,
Yes.
he did
X3
not.
sucked. Sorry, Brett Ratner.
You don't have to say sorry to him.
No,
he
but
sucks.
no, actually,
Yeah.
but I think right that Star Wars, why Star Wars was so good and Raiders of the Lost Ark, because George Lucas is a massive geek with pockets of money. You see?
How do you explain?
So
the
He
No,
did
no,
not
no,
have
no,
pockets.
sorry.
By the way,
Episode
he
one,
did
two,
not
and
have
three.
pockets of money when he
Okay,
began.
Yeah, see, that's when passion comes into play. So he was so passionate that this could work, and he fought with all his heart, and
how do
it
you
came out.
explain episode 1, 2, and 3?
That's because now it wasn't
Now
passionate
that
about
he's no
money.
passion about money, okay.
Not the money,
Yeah.
you see. So when you want to put money above passion and art, then you're gonna get like an okay film, but it's not gonna be like remembered. But if you're gonna put like passion, it's just gonna work out.
Are you saying that money
corrupt?
corrupted his vision?
Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it.
Okay, Halo is also coming to the screen, right?
I think
off
they're
and on,
trying
off
to.
and on.
With
yeah.
Peter Jackson supposedly behind it, but we're not sure.
No,
is
no,
he still behind
he's,
it?
he's sort of producing it. I think
Executive
producing it.
producer.
Yeah.
is producing it. Yeah.
And Alex Garland is writing it. Alex Garland of the Beach fame and the Tesseract and so on.
Yep.
Do you think that kind of level of talent would bring the game up?
No, because if you play Halo, the lead character that you play does not have a face.
Yeah.
It's Master Chief, he's in a helmet.
Yeah.
So when you do a movie, you have to give him a background, and then again, already that destroys whatever.
Oh, that's gonna ruin
idea.
it.
Yeah, because you're giving a meat to a character that you yourself want to say, okay, this is what I think his character is. This is how I will play it.
Assuming that's how he's going to do it, right?
But I mean, whatever it is, it will be different from what you think. So expectations are definitely going to be way off.
I think they're sort of setting up because Halo 3 is coming out with a new game called Halo 3 Recon. Sort of like on a alternate perspective. So you're a soldier looking at sort of like surviving in the world which Master Chief was a protagonist in previous games.
Yeah.
So I think they're sort of setting the audience up for the movie where you're gonna have protagonists, just like up and comers, and you will see Master Chief as sort of like plot mechanics.
Maybe that's
so to
what they're
speak.
trying to do. They're trying to put you, beyond the perspective of the lead
Yeah,
character,
yeah.
and so you can look at it from the side.
Yeah.
But whether fans will actually embrace that, I think it's going to be very hard. I mean, Halo is a very popular game.
Of course, yeah.
Master Chief itself is like an icon up there with like your Mario and your Sonic. So can you imagine? Look what happened with the previous Mario movie, right?
Oh.
And no one's ever tried a Sonic movie. Because these are icons that you can't touch. Even Zelda. Zelda has been around since the Nintendo days
Yep.
in the 80s. And no one's ever tried it because they know that these guys are untouchable. You can't do a movie with these guys because
They're
there's so
larger
much
than life,
history.
yeah.
Yeah, they're larger than life already, right?
And fans are hard to please, do you think?
Well, it is true.
Very much
I mean,
so,
there's,
very
I
much
mean,
so.
you
Because
can
they
have a
spend
movie
like 20, 30 hours playing those games. They've developed a very special
and
relationship
they think that they know
with the
best.
characters.
Yeah.
They think that they know best.
Yeah.
It's because the games is interpreted by so many people differently on different levels that once one director puts his vision onto and saying this is the way it should be, you're gonna have like the audience is gonna be divided.
Yeah, and
Totally.
they probably will.
Yeah.
You will never get a fan who says that, okay, I love the movie as much as the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that has ever happened.
Okay, so what are we saying in here? That making a good movie out of a video game is almost impossible? Is that what we're saying?
It's not impossible. I mean, Resident Evil did okay.
Yeah.
Resident
Because
Evil
they
was
strayed
a
away
fun
from-
movie.
they
It was
just
a
kept the
guilty
core
pleasure.
elements.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
think that if you take the core elements and you don't, try to copy or mimic the game too much, I think there is a way that you can, be successful with it.
But
Okay.
on the flip side, Doom kept the core elements of killing monsters, and it sucked to no ends.
But Doom didn't. What about the fact that Doom was supposed to be? It took place in hell, right? Or in
Hell on Mars.
Hell
you know.
on Mars.
It's not like an Event Horizon sort of thing, you know, where they merge both worlds
Yeah,
together.
but they ignored that element, right?
Yep.
And it didn't have the cool guns and the cool creatures and that the game had.
Yeah, I just think Rock spoiled it.
Okay, now we've got a comment from the internet. Zoso said Doom was awesome. It was supposed to be all about killing and all. Pure Guys movie. Resident Evil Extinction didn't do so well with the fans, by the way.
It didn't?
No,
it did.
not Extinction. Extinction was the last one, right?
Yeah, but it did.
Yeah, it did okay.
But it was really bad. Only the first two were
But
good.
I mean, you have to give it credit. Resident Evil is the first video game movie adaptation that made it as a
worked.
trilogy.
That made it as
Right?
trilogy,
Yeah,
yes.
others, and even Tomb
I
Raider,
agree.
you say it's successful. There were
The
only
first
two
one,
movies.
the first one was successful.
Yeah,
the
so it
second
never
one
made it
sucked.
past the
The
second
third
one.
one did not get made
Yeah.
because the second one bombed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't agree with you, Zoso. Doom was excellent. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
Okay, Josh Olson, who is the rewriter for Halo, who also wrote A History of Violence, he said that video games have aimless cycles. You go to point A, shoot some monsters, go to point B, and then you start over all over again.
But see, that's how he plays it.
That's how he
Yeah,
plays
he
it.
probably doesn't invest like several hours trying to get into the game. And
You
then-
sure? You met Josh Olson?
No, but the way he said it's aimless cycles. But I mean, what does that tell you, right? He's aimless. I mean, if you don't like the game, then you don't play it, right? So you probably have a lot of these writers who have not seen the movie and they try to create something out of it,
Yeah.
or have not played the game. They try to create something out of it.
Because almost every game is non-linear, not like a story. So, and he's a
Yeah.
writer, right?
Yeah,
So
he
he
is.
writes just linear. Huh? First act, second act, third act, boom, I'm done. I'm an Oscar Award winner.
Yeah.
But games you got to write in different parallels because you don't know what the gamer's gonna do.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay, among the three of us, you're the only one who's seen Max Payne. You
Yeah.
saw it last night. What did you think of it?
I think if, like I said, if there wasn't a branding, the action sequences were there. If you played the game and you saw the elements where, you know, you have all these angels, supposedly angels flying around, the mise-en-scène of all this snow falling, Max playing, you know, if you talk about bullet time, that's part of the aspect of the game where things slow down and bullets zip past him.
Matrix style.
Yeah, it's recreated in the game, so I will give the director credit for that. But in terms of storyline, I mean, we've seen Harrison Ford do a much better job finding the killer of his wife, right?
In
The Fugitive.
In The Fugitive.
Yeah, so it was not a video game, but I mean, the storyline is not new.
Okay.
So the movie is entertaining, but I would say it's not your level of Tomb Raider or Resident Evil.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. And I didn't enjoy any one of those films.
Okay, so yeah.
You did not
save your
enjoy-
money,
okay,
save your
right?
money.
Save your money.
Which films did you enjoy?
Doom.
I actually enjoyed Hitman. I know
Hitman.
you don't
Okay,
agree
yeah,
with me,
you know, see,
I actually
Hitman,
enjoyed
no.
Hitman actually. I just thought he played it a little bit too flat. He was just like, I'm a killer. Yes, we have to go do this, and, you know, and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
And the game
wasn't
Hitman
too-
had, I know, more dimensions in the game itself. Yeah, Agent 47, wasn't it? Yeah, had more dimensions to him.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if you ask me what's my favorite video game movie, I'll be hard pressed to name one just because I think some of them are decent, but not great in any way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Sherwin,
Yes, sure.
Helmi,
thank you so much for
you so much for
joining
coming.
us.
you're welcome.
There was a very, very energetic debate, and I think some of our references just flew past some of our viewers.
Probably. So yeah, pick up the game and play it. Right, give it a shot.
Yeah, oh, exactly. And if you're a new gamer, stick to the next show, Rage, because we're gonna have
Rage.
Tekken Games time with me.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There's an army of bodies under this river. Criminals reaching up to welcome me as one of their own. It was an easy mistake to make.
The devil is building his army. Max Payne is looking for something that God wants to stay hidden. That's what makes him more dangerous.
Remember when you were a kid and you'd hold your breath when you run past the graveyard? Leave that man alone.
When the people a man needs get taken away from him, you can't ever go back to who you were before.